we need to have an alternative.
Yeah.
And we provide the alternative as the European hyperscaler #1 for sovereign services.
Welcome to the latest episode of Tech.Rulez.Period, our video podcast. My guest today has a life philosophy. When it rains porridge, you are supposed to have a spoon with you. He is the CEO of STACKIT and the Divisional Board Member of Sales and Marketing of Schwarz Digits. Welcome to the show, Bernd Wagner.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Bernd, can you give us a bit, it's a very lovely, I think, life philosophy. Can you give us a bit of background on it?
Yeah, well, this is, by the way, what I learned from my parents. Yeah, I'm really grateful. I had a wonderful time when I was young with my family. Unfortunately, my parents passed away, but they taught me and my sister, two sisters and brother, which I still maintain a great relationship. They taught us quite a lot. And there were two things which I learned from them. It sounds simple, but it still lasts since 57 years.
Okay.
The one is when it's raining porridge. I think this comes from my mother. Rather, she has a sales gene, but she never worked in IT nor in nor in technology and nor in sales. But there's always business around, and there's a huge opportunity, especially also for us now. And that is why it's so important. Have an open eye on where is business, where can we engage, and how can we drive this for the success of the company, for the success of the people, and of course, at the end of the day, our customers. So that is the one thing. But there was also another one. My dad focused on everything what is clarified in advance will not hit your feet later. Yeah, and I think this is very important because once you get into a dialogue with the customer, it's always important that you are honest and open. Tell them what you can do and what not. Otherwise, it definitely will hit your feet later on. So, and the last thing which developed over time is I love people. I love humans. And that helps quite a lot in my business.
Okay, cool. I pick up on one thing. Your mother said there is always business around, which leads me a bit to STACKIT and what is behind STACKIT. I mean, if you just read the tagline, it's a bit like just another cloud provider. Yeah, but if you then read one level deeper, you speak about you drive sovereignty and especially strong Europe.
Yeah,
that sounds quite like a deep mission that you and the Schwarz Group has. Can you give us a bit of more details around it?
Okay, first of all, what thrills me, previously before this, I was working for Google as a managing director in Germany. So you can work for one of the hyperscalers, but there's only a scarce chance to really build a new hyperscaler, and especially for Europe. Sovereignty is in our DNA in the group as such, but given the fact that we at the moment have about 82% dependency on technology and services from foreign states and countries, and especially from the US, but also China and Taiwan and so on. So this is a really huge dependency, and we saw this in COVID as an example when we were not able to get all the medicines for our babies, the young ones, but also the elderly. So I'm sure that we need to change. So we became pretty more or less comfortable, too much comfortable in the past from my point of view. We were leading globally in automotive, in manufacturing and development and so on. R&D. This has gone mostly, unfortunately. but we still have an opportunity. And this opportunity is what we use with STACKIT, because we see a huge demand in the market. We started for ourselves 7 years ago, not after the geopolitical shakeup, but we really started more than 7 years ago. And what we do is we build up on latest technology, but open source.
Okay. Yep.
And open source is one of the major foundations for sovereignty. Because otherwise, try to take any other commercial software and maintain it yourself. Impossible. Yeah. So, and we saw in a couple of latest movements, let's put it that way. I want to be politically correct. What has happened in the International Crime Court, in the police in Scotland and in Ukraine. I think this is something which scares me and scares quite a lot of other people, and which started to rethink, to really rethink and focus more on sovereignty. And funny enough, this week I had the opportunity in Munich to speak at their public day or whatever. So that was
for the employees or
for their customers. For their customers, and I had the opportunity to speak there about sovereignty, and it's always interesting. So if you have a group in front of you which has a special purpose in their job, like lawyers, then they have a complete different view on sovereignty. They say, hey, this is the contract that makes you sovereign, and so that's it. From my point of view, we need to distinguish between sovereignty and survivability.
Okay. That's a big word.
Yeah, well, what does that mean? Given this highest judge in the court, in the ICC, he has a contract, definitely, also GDPR conform. And out of a sudden, he was not able to access his accounts anymore. His email account and his data. And that is what I mean with survivability. So, is anybody else allowed to decide outside the court who has access to his emails, his data, especially if it is in Europe, as an example. And that is what we believe needs to change. We need to have an alternative, and we provide the alternative as the European hyperscaler #1 for sovereign services.
Very interesting to hear about STACKIT and the overall purpose. Now, switching to you as a person, you have about 100 days behind you in this new role. Any lessons learned? What do you bring forward? What's your insight from the first 100 days?
Oh, well, the first 100 days, they were full of events, customer meetings, and things I never experienced before.
Okay.
An example, it's the first time that we started to drive a contract with a client on the one hand side, which I then finally negotiated on the other hand side. Here at Schwarz Digits and STACKIT. That is one thing, but the most important thing is the extraordinary great experience with the team. So what have been achieved in this rather, compared to other hyperscalers, pretty short time frame with 7 years is mind-blowing from my point of view. I always try to compare this with, for example, Volkswagen and BYD. The other guys started much later, but came up with also some fairly good technology, I would say. And what my team achieved here in this period of time is amazing, and I'm super proud on that. And that is why I also been really proud and bold whenever I have the opportunity to speak with customers and in front of audiences about our capabilities and what we bring to the table. Yeah.
And because you pinpoint to the people you work with like a differentiator, we have one thesis in this format which basically says mindset is more important than skill set. Yeah. Which basically is a bit into that direction. How do you select people that you work with, and how do you take them over basically so they come with you?
Well, I think we have a similar view on that, like you. And you know, also Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And you know, people make the difference at the end of the day. And it is, I mean, skill is a foundation. For sure, you need to have skill. If you have never coded one line, then it becomes pretty difficult to build a sovereign cloud. Nonetheless, with this ecosystem we have here and also in Germany, with the Bildungscampus, the EPI, but the collaboration with TUM, Haifa, and so on, we have access to an enormous ports of sources, highly skilled sources, Leipzig and so on, and it is also fascinating. Like I said, when can you can work for a couple of hyperscalers, but when can you be part of building a
new
sovereign cloud? And that is thrilling, not only for me in my rather experienced lifetime. It is very thrilling also for young people joining our team. It's amazing.
Okay. You speak about your experience, and I think you mentioned along the format your age. Yeah. If you now look back over the different positions in your career, how has technology evolved and changed the way the industry that you work in, and how did it actually change?
Well, of course, we still remember. I still remember when it was at the times with the PCs. I had to see a Commodore Z64 and things like this. And at this point in time, when I started my career, my employer had way more advanced computer equipment than I had. And then after time, even that changed. So if you see high-end gaming computers compared to what we are using here, that is quite that has changed significantly. You remember the mainframe, client server, the different network technology topologies, Internet of Things, and then cloud. Or before that, the first step was the VMware as an example, Citrix, first hypervisors, and now we are in the middle of cloud, and I don't know anybody who has not a cloud-first strategy. And not to forget, from my point of view, after the steam machine, now the biggest game changer, artificial intelligence, which we still have since many, many years, but now generative artificial intelligence. This is a big game changer, and we see this as one of the advantages we have also in Germany, because we still do quite a lot of R&D and development in this regard. And I hope also that the new geopolitical situation also drives some more skills into Europe, and especially also into Germany, and finally also in the EPI. We started this endeavor with EPI already, and we have the new EPI starting to build in end of this year, studying, developing, doing R&D, and collaborating around artificial intelligence and generative AI. Will be most likely the biggest campus and infrastructure for AI, and that makes me proud, and that makes me also positive looking into the future.
Yeah, and technology versus IT, and if you carry your product offerings out to your clients, who is the conversation partner that you have with you? Is that typically like an IT person, or are you talking nowadays to whomever on your client side, or has that evolved over time?
Yes, I mean that's a great question, and I would like to share one story. I had a meeting with an insurance company, and by the way, I was never ever able to sell them anything with my previous company. And out of the sudden, after a couple of weeks after I started here, we had them in the EPC, and after 1 hour in the discussion, which was a really good discussion, very smart people, and I asked them, "Listen, is it really that you want to use STACKIT, or is it a courtesy maybe that we are a large customer for you?" And at the end of the day, I think it turned out that we are rather a large customer. Yeah. Funny enough, now we are in the middle of a POC. So what has changed? Yeah. And to answer your question, usually when you talk about cloud as an infrastructure and also platform as a service, you talk to, about or to the CIO, CDO, and so on. In the meanwhile, this is also sovereignty and survivability. This is also something which is top of mind of supervisory boards and CEOs and the boards as such. Yeah. And from my point of view, CIOs should be part of the board anyhow. So this has changed. This has changed quite a lot. A great example is NLM. It's not a new language model, but it is next level Mittelstand. And you may know Henrik Schunk from the Schunk company. He had an idea about collaboration in the manufacturing arena. With manufacturers, software developers, cloud providers, and so on, to drive digitalization, artificial intelligence, and joint collaboration. And finally, Henrik is not only a smart guy, but also very bold. And he approached us if we would be part of it. And of course, we want to be part of it. And we are proud to support this with everything we have, and starting, of course, with STACKIT, but also not to forget security, cyber defense. Yeah, that is why we acquired XM Cyber, and XM Cyber is a fantastic company with an outstanding technology which enables a constant threat analysis. Yeah, so it develops a digital twin of your infrastructure, and then tries to simulate how a hacker could get deeply into your infrastructure and where to fix the problems first. Yeah.
So you're evolving your product portfolio.
Absolutely. Okay. And that's also, by the way, that's also why we invested in Aleph Alpha, in Wire, Wire for secure communication. So not only the BND and German Bundestag and so on using it because of his quantum-proof algorithms. It's also open source, by the way. By the way, developed by the former founder of Skype. And for example, smart people also there in Germany and in Switzerland. What they do is quantum proof. You can only achieve if you, with every news message, if you encrypt it with a new key. So that is a smart approach. And finally, also our collaboration with Google. And everybody would ask, "Oh, come on, Google is US," and of course it's US. But what we are doing, we are encrypting with an own key, or which the customer can bring. We are encrypting with a key, and we are storing the data in our STACKIT cloud. That means even if the service is cut off, we have open file format, or we have the encrypted data, and we can then reuse it in an LDAP and in another Zendis as an example, or Phoenix or Open Office format. So survivability.
Very good. Very good. My last question, Bernie. I mean, you mentioned Mittelstand. how do I have to picture how you guys meet in this region, Neckarsulm and Heilbronn and other cities around? Is it because it feels like a lot of smart people are coming together and having innovative ideas? Can you give us at least a glance on how this operationally works?
Yeah. First of all, as you know, we are quite large company, number 4 on the planet for retail. We have our own production, and given this fact, of course, we are networking on a port basis already with a lot of companies, not only in the area, but also still globally, of course. That is the one thing. The other thing is we have an innovation board. We invite customers, partners to give us feedback where to improve or what could be the next big thing. And our board, all the CEOs of the different groups, including my 2 bosses, they are full of new ideas and what could be next. And then we are sitting together and try to see what could work best for us as a group. Of course, in accordance to the demand of the market, but also not only for the demand of the market. I mean, the Schwarz Foundation could also say, hey, we rather save the money, but if you see what happens here in the area with schools, with the university, the Bildungscampus, Heilbronn 42 and things like this, or also our joint venture with Deutsche Bahn, Data Hub Europe. I mean, these are all great initiatives, and we are full of energy to drive this forward.
Massive, cool, very good. I mean, Bernie, we learned a lot about your mother, your father. What was impressive for me, that people make the difference. Yeah, if I just listen to you, how you explain your last 100 days, but also the purpose of STACKIT, it all seems to start a lot with the people make the difference.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, the technology itself is outstanding, but then also summarizing with all the regional aspects and how you drive sovereignty and survivability in Europe. Very, very impressive. Bernie, thanks for being in the show.
I thank you for being here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bernie.